All right, last segment of the week. All right, and it's a Football Friday. It's brought to you by the Golden Moon Casino, Sportsbook and Lounge, an award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, all on the property of Pearl River Resort. Don't forget Philip M. Steakhouse, recognized by Wine Spectator. Book your 24 to 48 hours of fun, pearlriverresort.com. It doesn't get any better. All right, you get 3 or 4 guys, you walk into the Golden Moon Casino, you go into the sports book, full bar, food menu, get your chairs and all that, start to get your bets in, and you know it's going to be a good day. You know, grab an ice cold beer or Tito's Vodka Bloody Mary, and then you've got nachos and quesadillas coming. You got table games 20 yards from you. It's all good. And then you wrap it up that night with the bone-in ribeye from Philip M's on the property of Pearl River Resort. We welcome in Fat Jack Ross and his site, fatjacksports.com. He joins us on 105.9 The Zone ESPN. Fat Jack, I think this lineup tomorrow, college football, especially in the SEC, is on fire. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what helps with that day in the sports book is a 6-0 Saturday.
That's
which
right.
is what we had last week.
Ooh.
I mean, that you can't screw that up.
No.
I mean, that's one of those. We obviously don't do that every week, but and I was looking for something to sweat on Saturday afternoon. They were so easy after the early kick. We had a couple early kicks that were toss-ups and won both of those. But after that, we had Oregon minus 28.5. They won 69-3. We had under in the West Virginia Ohio game. They were 61 was the total. They scored 27 points. Under in the Oklahoma Michigan game, 37 points in that, one of the easier plays. And then Nebraska minus 34, they won 69-0. So if you're going to go bet on what an easy Saturday it was last week. Gave a little back on Sunday, but ready for this week. I made over 4 games of profit last week overall. That is where if you get 4 games a week, you're going to make over $5K this year at $100 a game. And so after paying the service fee, if I told you you're going to make $3,500 betting on football this year, most $100 players would take that. If not, then they have unrealistic expectations. So ready for another big week. And you're right. The SEC, up and down the board, I have 8 plays that have already gone out for Saturday. And so I think it's a deep card. Some of them, and I normally don't have that. 6 is a lot for me for the amount of money I bet. But we've got 8 going tomorrow so far, maybe more. And you're right. You start in the SEC both from a watchability standpoint and from intriguing angles. And Florida LSU probably jumps off the page, right?
Yes.
There's a bunch of them that do. But Florida LSU, what's Florida's? Is there a bounce back there? We gave away South Florida as a winner in week 1 against Boise. Not surprising. Matter of fact, you get season win totals. Everybody got South Florida over their season win total. So there's nothing been surprising about what they've done. But be careful, a little bit like the NFL week 2. Be careful of overreacting to one game. Players don't behave like fans do. So if you're a Gators fan, you're still pissed, right? I mean, you're still upset about what happened. But that's not how college football players are. There's some value because what's this number if they actually take care of business last week? You're getting, almost a touch or over a touchdown here. Florida 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games. This games normally go under when Florida's playing. They're 6-0 to the under their last 6. So fewer points. I'll take the underdog. Give me the Gators in that one.
Oh, I'll take the Gators too. I expect them to bounce back and play well. Arkansas at Ole Miss. Can Arkansas hang with the Rebs, Fat Jack?
Yeah, so there's a lot of sharp players that believe they're going to. This is one of the biggest line moves of the week, and it started at 10. The bigger line moves. Temple went from 28 to 22. It's a 6-point number. Missouri went from a 21-point favorite to 27. Ohio went down from a 33-point underdog to 29, and this one's right up there with that. Opens at 10. Ole Miss a favorite. By the way, the more you get to know Lane Kiffin, who doesn't like Lane Kiffin? I understand that he has got a bad rep early. If there's a coach that I would like to hang out with a little bit, he's one of them. I love a guy that apologizes to the gamblers out there after he gives up one play to Kentucky. It really was one play. They're covering the entire time. One play later, Kentucky kicks a field goal, which was the right play to get it to a one-score game. But I appreciate a guy that basically comes up and says, yeah, hey, that was a bad beat for the gamblers. So I didn't have any part of it, but I just started shaking my head laughing. So now they're down to 6.5-point favorite over Arkansas, and I think Arkansas can absolutely hang in this. We don't know a ton about Arkansas because of the early season schedule, but I do think that this is a pretty good matchup for them. They will try to keep the ball away from Ole Miss's offense. Ole Miss, again, another lower scoring team than you think. You look at Ole Miss, you think they score a ton of points all the time. That's not really been the case. This has been an under team, playing better defense, trying to win time of possession. So I think that kind of continues. Anytime you start leaning under, you got to look underdog first. So yeah, give me Arkansas plus the points.
All right, tell us what's going on the site this weekend, fatjacksports.com. What do we have going on?
Yeah, I mean, a ton of stuff. Actually, UFC going this weekend. Obviously, a huge NFL card. If you're in the NFL, you need to be thinking under. You need to be thinking underdogs again. Unders 12-4 last week. Teams that got blown out last week, they normally come back and they cover double-digit losses on in week one that go on the road in week two in the NFL. They cover 65% of the time, and that's a 20-year stat. So 65% of the time. So teams like Carolina, teams like the Giants, parity rules in the NFL. Do not go out and play the better team because you saw them win last week. That's a good way to go broke in the NFL. Follow the parity of the league first before you start making your plays. Or go to fatjacksports.com. $189 for football through Monday. $249 gets you the players props as well. Those make money 5 out of every 6 weeks. They were 3-3 last night. Got a little bit of a bad break with Austin Eckler going out with an injury. Otherwise, he goes over his total and go 4-2. They expect more value there. UFC big card going this weekend. Those are $20 a week when you sign up for a longer package. Soccer going this weekend. English Premier League's back. I don't love soccer. I don't care about soccer, but my soccer guys are really, really good. Go to fatjacksports.com. Less than $80 a week when you sign up through the Super Bowl for football. Let's say it's $80 a week. You're going to eat steak anyway. $80 a week will get you a 6-0 last Saturday, 3 straight winning weeks, and a big weekend card when you sign up through the Super Bowl at fatjacksports.com.
All right, Georgia at Tennessee. Georgia on this book is laying 3.5. Who do you like and why?
Dude, I thought we were done. I thought you were trying to get me out.
No,
I was trying to wrap it up. I apologize, brother. I thought we were done. So,
no.
No, Georgia. Yeah, here's the thing. This number also down. This number opens at 6, down to about 3.5. You do feel like Georgia could be a little vulnerable, right? If you look from the outside in, they're not getting good quarterback play. He's not hitting receivers down the field. Their offensive line that's banged up is not protecting that well. Tennessee's at home with a bunch of, moonshine drinking hillbillies that are hungry for this big win against either Georgia or Alabama. And they're getting good quarterback play out of the transfer from UCLA. So this probably is the spot. You worry about the value of their wins so far. Syracuse not looking near as good. They were lucky to get it done in overtime against UConn last week. But that's a play the underdog or don't play it. Georgia also 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games, not covering many games. Tennessee, the opposite of that, 4-1 against the number. So, yeah, lean toward the Vols there.
All right, one more. Do you have time for one more?
Sure. I'm here as long as you want.
Okay. Texas A&M at Notre Dame. Do you remember like 6 years ago, Fat Jack, when Georgia went into Notre Dame Stadium, bought up all the tickets and took their manhood? It was like 6 years ago in a game. I'm wondering if Notre Dame is going to sell their tickets again to another SEC school, but A&M at Notre Dame laying 6.5.
So this is another one of those, you can make a good case either way. A&M, last thing that the Texas A&M fans have needed at this point is legalized sports gambling in the state of Texas, because they would be a bunch of broker oilies down there in College Station. A&M 3-12 against the spread under their current head coach. That's the second worst last year. This is a team that has not been covering. They do not cover the number, which is really where we're trying to land in this. Flip the coin on that. Notre Dame 29-14-1 against the spread under Freeman. That's the best since 2022. So Notre Dame typically is going to get it done in this spot, but I understand exactly what you're saying. A&M is better. It feels like they're in a spot to where they could at least cover the number and go pull the upset. They're 0-7 their last 7 games against the number. It's 8-2 to the over. But Notre Dame doesn't have their quarterback's not playing great. We don't know exactly how good they are. They're coming off a bye. They're losing week 1. So I think this is definitely a let's figure out what they are. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if A&M went up there and played them close and or won the game. There's easier spots, I think, to make money. I'd say games like that, Miami of Florida, that's still sitting at 17.5 against South Florida, huge emotional win, 2 ranked opponents in a row against South Florida. They're good. I don't think they're that good. Also, that Oklahoma Temple game's another one you look at and you say, okay, this is a sandwich game for OU, in the SEC. They beat Michigan. They've got Auburn on deck. They do not cover on the road. They're 2-5 against the spread. Their last 7 on the road. Temple, on the other hand, they bring in the coach from Sam Houston. They're 6-1 against the spread. Their last 7 home games, and OU off of a cover. Even worse, they're 1-8 against the spread when they cover. They normally don't cover 2 in a row, and Brent Venables doesn't care about covering. So that's why that number's trended down. So I would take Temple in Philadelphia plus all those points against the Sooners.
Wow, Oklahoma's going on the road to play at Temple. Unbelievable. All right, one more I want to hit you with. Clemson at Georgia Tech. Haynes King.
Yeah, this is another one of those like that OU game that if you were going to bet it, you should have bet it early in the week.
Gotcha.
I mean, you're not getting the value now, right? I mean, this number's down 3.5. You could have got it at 6 when it opened. Clemson 1-6 against the number their last 7. So I don't love where they are. Obviously, don't love what happened to start the season for them, but the value's gone. And Georgia Tech is one of those teams. They're like, we talked about Kentucky last week, that they just figure out a way to muddy it up and stay close in games they really shouldn't be in. That's kind of what Georgia Tech is too. So a turnover or 2, Clemson probably covers easy if they take advantage of that, and their defense should be good at that. But the quarterback situation at Georgia Tech, he will give them some problems. He's a very mobile quarterback, runs a lot of misdirection. So I'll wait and see for me on what Clemson and, frankly, Georgia Tech are, especially with that number down around field goal.
Boom. All right, anything else before – well, let's drop the site. FatJackSports.com. Went 6-0 last Saturday. Fat Jack Ross joins us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook. Is there anything else you want to hit on the way out?
Yeah, just when you're going to play the NFL this week, make sure you're not playing the best team and calling it there. Underdogs do really well this week, and teams that looked really bad last week more times than not cover this week. The big one, Philly, Kansas City, Philadelphia. They beat Dallas. They did not beat Buffalo. I mean, this is not a great win for them to start the year. Dallas has traded away their best defensive player. I do think that Kansas City gets it done at home. They're 13-0 straight up. Their last 13 at home. Mahomes really good as a dog, 11-4 against the spread. And I think Taylor Swift may call off the wedding if the Chiefs start 0-2. So I think they got a lot of pressure on them. Let's go. I think they get it done at Arrowhead. Give me the Chiefs plus a point.
All right, FatJackSports.com. Fat Jack Ross, thank you, buddy. Have a good weekend.
All right, Bill. Have a good week. See you soon.
Brought to you by Wings and Stella Artois. That is a winning combo. Wings and Stella Artois right here on the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Also, Matt